Hey there, toy collector friends and Star Trek fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the time traveling toy collector, and this is the Eaglemoss XL USS Voyager NCC-74656. I was trying to read it. 74856. Suddenly realised I didn't know. This is the XL edition, as I mentioned, from Hero Collector and Eaglemoss of the Intrepid-class Starship, featuring in the Star Trek Voyager TV series. As I mentioned, as I said several times now, it's the XL version. It's huge, it's brilliant. And I'm also electing this to be the first Eaglemoss model that I'm looking at, following the non-announcements surrounding the future of Eaglemoss. Many of you will probably undoubtedly be aware that practically overnight the Eaglemoss and Hero Collector presence online, social media, etc. disappeared, and at the time of recording this there's been no updates. Now I, for one, along with many other people I know, have several pending pre-orders that have been paid for, so we're all up in the dark about that. There are quite a few other YouTubers who are building Eaglemoss items at the moment from their subscription services. No updates about that, so we eagerly await what's going on. There has been apparently allegedly a request made by Eaglemoss to appoint administrators, which doesn't automatically mean bankruptcy. It could mean that they're getting someone in to sort out the company, possibly sell it on, because there's a lot to be said for an international organisation that is clearly delivering internationally to suddenly disappear overnight. It's not how bankruptcy works. You usually have a stock that you sell off, for example, and so your first move is to shift stock that you can't sell, so that's more sales, and sales have always been something they've been very good at doing. But yeah, so it's a very peculiar state of affairs. We're in the dark, which is disappointing, but I don't think there's anyone less in the dark or more in the dark overall. So more news as it comes out. So like the rest of you, I'm probably very eagerly scanning social media posts and checking my emails regularly for any updates, to which so far there have been none. So nothing really to report other than to hold our breaths and hope for the best, that there is a future for Hero Collector and Eaglemoss, because goodness knows there is a market, and there certainly is, you know, overall. I know people have their gripes, but overall I don't know anyone else out there that's producing the same quality and frequency of Star Trek ships and Doctor Who figurines, and of course Battlestar Galactica, and actually, frankly, loads of stuff. Firefly, Serenity, Stargate, they've got loads of stuff going on. Anyway, let's stick to the here and the now and the USS Voyager. As I said, Intrepid-class ship. This is really lovely. The level of detail on this, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more for you, really is exceptional. From the posable nacelles, they don't pose on this model, of course. It's a fixed static model, but you can see the detailing, the saucer section there, the primary hull, beautifully depicted. All of the escape pods, the windows, the phaser strips, the sensor array. It's beautifully done. I'm going to pull out slightly more because I'm going to pick this ship up and have it in hand in a second. But it really is magnificent. It really is a magnificent ship. For me, it's one of the great hero ships from the Star Trek series. I think it's very hard. It's like asking you to pick your favourite child, but I think Voyager possibly is one of my favourite Star Trek TV variations. I think that's both due to the shaping design of the ship, but also the captaining style of Janeway. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Voyager and for Janeway alike, but that may have been also partly nostalgia driven based on when they came into my life. It's a fond period, but yeah, let's not dwell on my personal history. Instead, let's pick this up. I lift it carefully off the stand so we can take a really good look at the detailing here. So we look around that rear section where the the shuttle bay is. We can turn that around a bit more. I'll try and get some light on it. I'll move that back a tad. So you can see the detailing there, USS Voyager, the landing docking area, the docking bay doors for the shuttles. Really beautiful, really, really beautiful. You can see the faux hinges there that indicate that those nacelles can go up to enable them to enter, I want to call it slipstream mode, but I don't think it is that. But in the series they would pop up. You can see that the underside there around that section, very nicely detailed with those panels. The translucent blue plastic for the nacelles, red for the bussard collectors. Very, very nice detailing all the way along that extended neck section, going up into the curvature of that elongated saucer section. There's the bridge in all its glory, beautifully depicted. You can see all of the windows there. We do have almost inevitably, really, where you can see they intended to print windows onto the indentations and miss quite spectacularly. But actually, from my point of view, from a bit of a distance, you can't really spot it, and it just looks like there's shadows on the hull if you squint. But you know, it's unfortunate, but I think overall a lot of the paint decals are on point, apart from that little irritation of getting, you can see it's almost worse that side. It's a shame when they get so much right to get that sort of aspect of it wrong. Bits of dust and fluff from where it's on display. Just clean that off a bit. There we are. So it's a really hefty piece, and I do love the surface detailing. Here we take the underside. You can see the registration 656, not 856, for those of you screaming at the screen. And some of the paint detailing on the underside is actually far superior to the top in terms of matching where it needs to go with where the indents are. It's really very effective. You can see as well where the landing struts, because Voyager can actually touch down, where the landing struts would emerge from. Voyager again, there's the deflector array pulled out in that nice blue with that bronze effect in the center. Again, ultimately a really, really lovely design. A really lovely design. I could just marvel at it. And it also now it's I know if anyone watching the animated Nickelodeon and Paramount series Prodigy, you will notice that the sort of hero ship from Star Trek Prodigy, which is the USS Protostar, does have shades of the Voyager in it, the Intrepid-class Voyager in it, not least in terms of the design of the saucer section and the mobility of the nacelles, but I won't talk too much about that. I was really hoping that Eaglemoss and Hero Collector might give us a USS Protostar at some point, but depending what the future holds, that may now not be possible, which I think would be extremely sad, speaking purely selfishly and hugely personally. I think it would be hugely sad, because I was quite keen on getting an XL Stargazer. But hey, who knows what the future holds, and I'm not going to dwell on something I neither know about nor can control. What I can control was adding this to my collection, and of course it begs the question, does it have a place in yours? Now you might think, well, that's all well and good, we can't order anything from the online shop because the online shop's disappeared. That is true. However, there are online facilities to still purchase Eaglemoss products through Amazon, for example, often on eBay. Now be careful, because some people are selling them second hand, and they are getting into the scalp mode a bit and charging silly prices, especially now. But equally, I see a couple of Comic Cons, London Film and Comic Con I was at recently, Wales Comic Con, there are people who are holding stalls, and they do have Hero Collector products and model ships, and some of them they're letting go for very, very good prices. Very, very good prices. And on a future Battlestar Galactica video, I will tell you about a recent experience at London Film and Comic Con, where I made a fatal mistake again around picking up something or not picking it up. And one day I will learn, but I always think I've learned and then I make the same mistake. I would say, apart from the oddities around some of the paint matching and positioning to the indentations, the display stand is one of the most irritating display stands of the entire range. It's got this really sort of wide fish mouth type of approach either side of the saucer section. It kind of holds it, but it doesn't have any real bite. So consequently, with the slightest nudge, this is loose. At least in my copy. Other people may have a different experience. For me, it's quite loose. So I'm not a fan of that at all. I'd have rather had something with a bit more support, even if there's a bit more support jutting out this way, just to sort of support that center of gravity aspect, because it is a real nuisance otherwise. But that and the niggles about some of the paint applications to one side, this is a fantastic model, very detailed, really, really impressive, a fine collection piece, and very nicely displayed alongside the other hero ships from the various series. So does it have a place on your shelf? Well, I would like to say yes. If you're a Star Trek fan, and particularly if you're a Voyager fan, you probably already have it. But if you don't, because you're not really sure about models and you're not really sure about whether or not this would look great in real life, let me tell you, it absolutely does. And I will, as ever, try and tag in some photos of the ship lit in different directions against a star cloth, so you can see what it looks like in terms of taking some action shots, some toy photography shots, because it really does work very, very nicely. It's not super in scale with some of the other XL ships, because, to be fair, the XL ships are more about length, to keep them in that scale. They're not about staying in direct scale with each other. So Galaxy class ships do not equate to Constitution class ships, to Sovereign class ships, to Deep Space Nine, which is they're able to dock with Voyager, and of course with some of the other ancillary ships that go with them that we'll be looking at in the near future. So my advice, yes, absolutely. But if this is not something that you fancy, then hopefully the video still helped you get your head around that and you can make that informed choice. Either way, if you think that's the case, do like the video. It really does help the channel. Similarly, please do subscribe. There will be plenty more, because I still have plenty more Eaglemoss products to bring to your attention across Star Trek and, well, actually Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica as it goes, and a few Doctor Who things as well. So, you know, they're, even though they may have gone, they may not, but they may have gone, at least for the moment, there is still more to come. So do subscribe and hit the notifications so you never miss a future video. And always search for Time Traveling Toy Collector and Hero Collector if you're trying to find any videos around that, or check out my Hero Collector playlist for everything I've put in so far. I will post some videos of this along at the end. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for staying with me the last 14 or so minutes. Do stick around and check out some other videos whilst you're here. It's only polite. And meanwhile, I wish you nothing but the best. I hope to see you very soon in a future video. Until then, live long and prosper. And remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.